Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new interview of Panem 360. My name is Alexandre Villemer, and I am here today with Martin Steidler. Martin Steidler holds a professorship for choral conducting at the University of Music and Performing Arts in Munich. In this capacity, he directs, among other things, the university's renowned madrigal choir, who has won first prizes at the Deutsche Chorwettbewerb. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The German choral competition in 2014 in Weimar, and at the 2015 competition, Let the People Sing, which was promoted by the European Broadcasting Union. Since 2008, he is the artistic director of the Audi Young Persons Choral Academy, or the Audi Jugendchorakademie, working closely together with renowned artists and ensembles including Kent Nagano, the Bayerisches Staatsorchester, and the Akademie für Alte Musik Berlin, or Akamus. It is with this renowned ensemble that they will present with the Audi Young Persons Choir um, two major religious vocal works of Felix Mendelssohn, his oratorios Paulus and Elias, who will be performed respectively on July 18th and July 19th at the Festival de Lanaudière at the Amphitheatre Fernand-Lindsay. With this really long introduction, Martin Steidler, hello.
Hello.
So, tell us about, firstly, because Akamus is accustomed to coming to Lanaudière. They came, I think, like 2 years ago. But correct me if I'm wrong, but for the Audi Jugendchor, this will be, I think, their first presence at Lanaudière and maybe even in Canada. So, how the rehearsals are going, and what is uh, the uh, the atmosphere like for the young peoples who are in anticipation of coming to perform on those two concerts.
Our singers are very, very happy that they have the opportunity to go to your wonderful festival and also to perform there these both masterpieces of the choral repertoire. And it's very special. You said we are the first time at La Naudière Festival. This is right. We are the second time in Canada. We were some years ago with Kent Nagano in Montreal when he was conductor of the Orchestre Symphonique de Montréal. So it's the second time for the choir to go to Canada. They loved it very much to visit Canada. It's about 6 or 7 years ago. And now everybody is looking forward so much for this concert trip.
Yeah. Maybe give us maybe a quick, run through of the history of this young choir, a person's choir story. What is the story of this ensemble?
Well, we founded the choir in 2008,
Mhm.
and the idea was to bring young people together in the age between 16 and 27.
Okay.
They come from all over Germany. They are chosen by audition. Every year we have audition. They come from all over Germany and apply for singing with us in the choir. And we had the idea to bring together people for um, um, for our singers, music is one of the most important things in her life, but not everybody tries to be a professional musician. So we have some students, music students, and we have a lot of other students and um, other professions already. But they have the common aim to do the best you can do with music. And we try to give them the skills. So we have a team of vocal coaches, and they get single vocal lessons during our rehearsal periods. And um, so everybody is really very good trained in music. And I think the common spirit of trying to find the best way to realize all the details which you can find in the score. This is the common sense, and this is what really makes our choir special.
Hmm. So so they will be performing with the Akademie für Alte Musik Berlin, Akamus, uh, like you said, two masterpieces of Felix Mendelssohn. Uh, to incredibly important work in the choral repertoire and in the German romantic oratorio repertoire. So tell us a little bit about what are those two pieces are. Firstly, being Paulus, which is the first oratorio that will be performed on the July 18th. What is it about, and what was important in this work when it was composed by Mendelssohn?
Uh, Sorry, when I give a little bit a longer answer, also saying something to the history of our collaboration with Akamus, because it fits
Totally.
with this idea to perform those two Mendelssohn
Sure.
pieces. We started our collaboration in 2009. So every year we had wonderful projects together. It's really a long history of a very, very good collaboration. And we started with Baroque music. So we performed all the big Bach oratories. We performed Handel. And then we went forward and we performed Schöpfung, the creation by Joseph Haydn. And then it was the absolute logical step to go forward in the music history and to work on both pieces of Mendelssohn. Since 4 years, we were working on these two pieces. We performed in Europe several times, both pieces. And then this idea for us was very amazing to put both pieces together in one concert tour. We can we have the experience from the last years, and now we can put it newly together. We rehearse next week together, and so this is our history. And I tell this because the history of both pieces in the music history is quite similar. So Mendelssohn is the composer who brought Bach to the people of in the Romantic period. Bach was forgotten, and Mendelssohn um, performed again the Matthäus Passion the first time. Saint Matthew Passion, sorry. This inspiration of his work with the music of Johann Sebastian Bach, um, and also Handel and all the orators from that period. This makes possible how Mendelssohn works in his composition style, and you find a lot of similar ideas and a lot of inspiration from the Baroque period in his music. Um, and he also brought these ideas in a complete new dress of romantic music. So the orchestra colors, the dynamic possibilities of modern romantic orchestra, and the harmonies are much more possibilities. Um, and also he had a lot of ideas about the working out the dramatical episodes in those pieces. So, but now your question about the Paulus, the first oratory of Mendelssohn, a big success in his own career, in his lifetime, a lot of performances all over Europe in his time. The Paulus is really a classical oratory. So you have evangelist part, not only from one soloist, but from two soloists, soprano and tenor, take this part, and you have the very dramatic parts in the first half of the Paulus. The Stephanus scene and all these things where recitatives, accompagnati, choruses, and the choral settings, and also the arias build a construct which has a really dramatical flair. And you have also this wonderful, meaningful music in the second half, which is more has a kind of a philosophic dimension of thinking about what happens. And here Mendelssohn uses uh, the old polyphonic tradition and has wonderful choruses with five-part choruses, double fugues, etc., for bringing this idea of a philosophic dimension into the piece. And this is, I think, really special with Paulus, these two dimensions, the dramatical and the philosophical dimension in one piece.
It sticks pretty clearly on the, more traditional side of, the oratorios and cantatas of the Baroque time, like you said, because you mentioned it. There's this big dramatic, um, you know, um, choir pieces, and then there's the chorale that are put in between pieces that are put there to inspire a more reflective and personal, mindset. Um, so really, could we say that if we have to compare Paulus and Elias, because they are not that much apart, I think, in terms of composition time, but is the difference between Paulus and Elias that Elias, stretches more out of this more traditional composition, canvas, compositional canvas?
Yes, absolutely. It's among 10 or 11 years in between the both compositions, and Mendelssohn tried with the Elias to go more modern way. And he didn't write an opera, but Elijah is quite near to an opera. Um, in the formal aspect, you can see that in the Elijah he has no evangelist, but all the soloist parts are protagonists of the story, and this makes a much more dramatical situation. And also the choir is directly involved, and this is also the reason why, because why already in the lifetime of Mendelssohn, scenic realizations of this piece were done, because the music makes it possible, and it's quite near to an opera.
Yeah. And musically, what are the differences between Paulus and El Elijah Elias? What are the difference on that music part?
Yes, what I already told, this formal aspect with the different roles of the
Mm.
soloists, and in the composition style, I think there's not so much difference. It's
Okay.
maybe a little bit more on the point for a dramatic scenery. Um, for example, in Elijah, the different numbers are together in one, so there's no break in between. A long period in the first half is without any break. So you don't have the feeling of one number and after another number.
While I
Uh,
was doing some research on, those two pieces, one thing, maybe struck a little bit to me what I was reading is that, and maybe I'm going out on a whim on that, but Mendelssohn, his religious faith was something that was, quite complex in his lifetime because of his Jewish background. And then, if I remember correctly, his father, converted to Christianism to avoid, the altercation and the implications of, being labeled as a Jew. Does this, inner fight maybe of, between those two uh, religious aspect of his personality, um, do they transpires in his music in the philosophical in a philosophical way?
This is difficult to give an answer for that,
Mm,
because we cannot know that really. We can only find some ideas and we can think about the meaning
mm,
of those ideas. I think that the chosen stories to choose the Elijah for example, to write an oratory may be one of these point of views because Elijah, in his very complex personality, is um, a lonesome person,
Mm.
and this maybe fits with the situation of Mendelssohn. So he converted to Christian, but he never was in the society seen as a Christian. He was always seen as a Jew. So he was isolated. He
Mhm.
was only thrown back to do with his music and to do with his family, to connect with his family. Um, and this is quite similar to the history of Elijah, for example.
Mhm.
Um, in the directly corresponding to the music, I think it's difficult to find those things.
Those
It,
elements.
it's more uh, the try to find a new way for a good church music and a music which can handle with theologic aspects.
Mhm. Maybe one last question, maybe more on the performing choir repertoire as a whole. Um, what is the most important thing for you as a choir conductor when you conduct and when you try and when you want your choristers and your singers to you know talk about and render the the work? What is the most important thing for you, and what is the thing that you found the most pleasant and joyful in singing in a choir?
Well, this is I can give you a long answer.
1,000 reasons, yeah.
There are a lot of things. Of course, all the musical, technical aspects, which are very interesting for, especially for the young choir,
Mm,
because we try to give them the skills, really to be able to perform this music in a way that is professional and that is healthy also for their voices, and this is really impressive for the audience.
mm,
So this is a very big part of our work, but not what you asked me, what makes the most pleasure in our work. Of course, it's very, very important for me that the singers are involved with the content of with the idea of a piece, with the words they sing, with the history of the composer, with the history of the chosen text, and all these things. And this is very special with the young choir because the actuality, which is in these two pieces, actuality in sense of what is always the situation for a human being in the context of the present history.
mm,
What are the themes with you struggle with and you are involved? There are such a lot of things which have a very high level of actuality in the political situation, but also in the question of environment and all these things. So this has a lot of points of view which are really amazing to discuss and to bring in connection with the music and to get a kind of authentic interpretation and meaning of the words of the music. And that means not that everybody uh, has the Christian belief of all these things. We
mm.
have a wide range of different, I don't know the word for Weltanschauung,
Point of view, you know,
point of views
point of
in
view of
our,
the, yeah, yeah.
but it means that everybody tries to inform and tries to feel what it means if you believe or all these things. So this is a very big context which has a important role in our work. And the next thing is, of course, that a choir is a wonderful community of people who want the same in their life and who are dedicated to give a lot of work and serious work to realize together special events. And this connects people in a way you don't. You maybe also have in sport and a good team, a football team, but in music it's very special because you have even also you have this history of all we have to do with.
Mm. Yeah, and the audience of the Festival de Lanaudière will be able to hear this, community spirit and inspiring music for these two concerts on July 18th and July 19th, respectively. On the July 18th, it's going to be Paulus, and on the 19th, Elias at the Amphitheatre Fernand Lindsay at the Festival de Lanaudière with you, Martin Steidler, and the Audi Jugendchorakademie and the Akademie für Alte Musik Berlin, or Akamus. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Looking forward to go to Lanaudière Festival.